Have you ever enjoyed a piece of chocolate only to feel a bit off afterward? Maybe it was a stomach ache, bloating, or even an energy crash that left you wondering what went wrong. If you've ever experienced something like this, you're not alone. Many people love chocolate. It's rich, indulgent, and even has some health benefits when eaten in moderation. But pairing it with the wrong foods can turn this treat into a recipe for discomfort. Here's the thing. Certain food combinations can interfere with digestion, nutrient absorption, or even your overall well-being. This is especially important as we age because our bodies become more sensitive to how we fuel them. Studies show that making mindful choices about what we eat and how we pair our foods can have a big impact on everything from energy levels to gut health. For example, research published in the Journal of Nutrition highlights how combining specific nutrients can either enhance or hinder their effects on the body. In today's video, we're going to uncover 5 foods you should never eat with chocolate, and why avoiding these combinations can help you enjoy your favorite treat without the unpleasant side effects. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end because the last combination might surprise you, and it's one many people unknowingly make every day. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. With that said, let's dive into our first point. Let's start with dairy products, one of the most common pairings with chocolate. Whether it's milk chocolate, hot cocoa made with milk, or a scoop of chocolate ice cream, many of us naturally associate chocolate with dairy. But here's the catch. Chocolate contains compounds called oxalates, which can bind with calcium found in dairy products. When this happens, it can form insoluble complexes that are harder for your body to digest, potentially leading to bloating, cramps, or constipation. Now, this doesn't mean you need to give up all chocolate-dairy combos entirely, but if you're someone who struggles with digestive issues after eating chocolate, cutting back on dairy pairings could make a noticeable difference. A friend of mine named Margaret loves chocolate, but noticed she often felt sluggish and uncomfortable after enjoying her nightly bowl of chocolate pudding. Once she switched to dark chocolate paired with almond milk instead of regular milk, she told me the difference was incredible. Her stomach felt lighter, and she no longer dreaded that late-night snack. For seniors, digestive comfort becomes increasingly important. As we age, our gut microbiome changes, and conditions like lactose intolerance or irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, become more common. Pairing chocolate with dairy might exacerbate symptoms for those already dealing with these issues. The good news is that there are plenty of alternatives. Try enjoying dark chocolate on its own, or pairing it with non-dairy options like coconut yogurt or nut-based spreads. These swaps allow you to indulge without sacrificing your comfort. You might be wondering, what about other ingredients in chocolate desserts? That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly into our next point. While dairy is one culprit, there are 4 other foods that don't mix well with chocolate and could be causing unexpected reactions. Let's talk about caffeine next, a surprising offender that many people overlook. Now that we've talked about why pairing chocolate with dairy can sometimes lead to digestive discomfort, let's move on to another surprising combination that might be sabotaging your enjoyment of this beloved treat, chocolate and caffeine. At first glance, you might think these two go hand in hand. After all, who hasn't enjoyed a mocha latte or a piece of chocolate alongside their morning coffee? But here's the thing. Both chocolate and caffeine are stimulants, and when combined, they can overstimulate your nervous system, especially as we age. As we get older, our bodies become less efficient at processing stimulants like caffeine. This means that indulging in chocolate paired with coffee, or even energy drinks or heavily caffeinated teas, can leave you feeling jittery, anxious, or unable to sleep. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that consuming caffeine even 6 hours before bedtime could disrupt sleep quality, leading to fatigue the next day. And since many types of chocolate, particularly dark varieties, naturally contain caffeine, combining them with other sources amplifies the effect. Let me share a quick story with you. A gentleman I know named Robert used to love ending his evenings with a cup of strong coffee, and a few squares of dark chocolate. He thought it was a harmless way to unwind, but he started noticing he couldn't fall asleep until late at night and often woke up feeling groggy. Once he switched to decaf tea and swapped dark chocolate for a lower caffeine option like white chocolate, which contains little to no caffeine, his sleep improved dramatically. He told me he felt more rested and had more energy during the day. A small change with a big payoff. For seniors, getting enough restful sleep is crucial for overall health. Lack of sleep has been linked to everything from memory issues to weakened immune function, so avoiding combinations that interfere with your ability to rest is key. If you're someone who enjoys chocolate in the evening, consider opting for milk or white chocolate, which contains significantly less caffeine than dark chocolate. And if you're craving something sweet with your coffee, try a non-chocolate dessert instead, like a fruit tart or a yogurt parfait. Now let's shift gears slightly and talk about another food group that doesn't mix well with chocolate: high-fiber foods. On the surface, fiber seems healthy, and it absolutely is. Foods like whole grains, beans, and certain vegetables are packed with nutrients and support digestion. However, when eaten alongside chocolate, they can create an uncomfortable situation in your gut. Here's why. Chocolate itself contains fats that slow down digestion, while fiber adds bulk to your meal and speeds things up. When these two forces clash, it can lead to bloating, gas, or indigestion. Here's an example. Imagine sitting down to enjoy a hearty salad topped with nuts, seeds, and a drizzle of chocolate dressing. Sounds delicious, right? But for some people, the combination of fibrous greens and rich chocolate can overwhelm the digestive system, leaving them feeling heavy and sluggish. I once met a woman named Linda who experimented with adding cocoa nibs to her fiber-rich breakfast smoothies. She loved the flavor, but noticed she felt uncomfortably full afterward. Once she separated the two, enjoying her smoothie in the morning and saving the chocolate for an afternoon snack, she felt much better. The takeaway here isn't to avoid fiber altogether. It's one of the most important nutrients for maintaining a healthy gut, but rather to be mindful of how and when you pair it with chocolate. If you're craving chocolate after a fiber-heavy meal, give your body some time to digest before indulging. Alternatively, choose low-fiber snacks to pair with your chocolate, like rice crackers or plain yogurt. Now, let's address a third combination that might come as a surprise: chocolate and citrus fruits. Think orange-flavored chocolates, chocolate-covered oranges, or even a glass of orange juice with your favorite candy bar. While these pairings might sound refreshing, the acidity in citrus can interact with the compounds in chocolate, potentially causing heartburn or acid reflux. This is particularly problematic for seniors, many of whom already struggle with digestive sensitivities like GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Research shows that acidic foods can relax the lower esophageal sphincter, the muscle that keeps stomach acid from flowing back into the esophagus. When combined with the fats and sugars in chocolate, which also weaken this muscle, the risk of reflux increases. For instance, my neighbor Susan adored chocolate oranges during the holidays, but always ended up with a burning sensation in her chest afterward. Once she switched to plain dark chocolate without the citrus twist, the discomfort disappeared entirely. If you still want to enjoy the zesty brightness of citrus with your chocolate, there's a simple solution: moderation and timing. Try eating these combinations earlier in the day rather than right before bed, giving your stomach plenty of time to process them. Or opt for milder flavors like vanilla or coconut instead of tangy citrus notes. Before we move on, let's recap what we've covered so far. Pairing chocolate with dairy can disrupt digestion due to oxalates binding with calcium, while combining it with caffeine can overstimulate your system and interfere with sleep. High-fiber foods may cause bloating when eaten with chocolate, and citrus fruits can trigger acid reflux in sensitive individuals. Each of these combinations highlights the importance of being intentional about how we enjoy our favorite treats. Now that we've explored these three problematic pairings, let's dive into two more culprits that could be affecting your enjoyment of chocolate. And trust me, the last one might shock you. Let's talk about alcohol next. Now that we've explored how chocolate interacts with dairy, caffeine, high-fiber foods, and citrus fruits, let's move on to another surprising combination that many people overlook: chocolate and alcohol. At first glance, this pairing might seem harmless, even indulgent. Think about desserts like chocolate liqueur or wine paired with a rich chocolate cake. While these combinations are often celebrated in gourmet settings, they can wreak havoc on your body if you're not careful. Here's why. Both chocolate and alcohol contain compounds that affect the liver and central nervous system. Chocolate contains fats and sugars that take time to digest, while alcohol is metabolized by the liver and can irritate the stomach lining. When consumed together, they place extra strain on your digestive system and may lead to nausea, heartburn, or an upset stomach. For seniors whose metabolism and tolerance levels have likely slowed down over the years, this combination can be particularly taxing. Let me share an example. A friend of mine named Harold loved his nightly ritual of enjoying a glass of red wine with a few pieces of dark chocolate. He thought it was a healthy way to unwind, given the antioxidants in both. But he started noticing that instead of feeling relaxed, he'd feel bloated and restless. Once he separated the two, having his wine earlier in the evening and saving the chocolate for dessert after dinner, he found his digestion improved and he slept more soundly. If you enjoy chocolate and alcohol occasionally, timing is key. Try spacing them out so your body has time to process each one individually. For instance, have your glass of wine with dinner and save the chocolate for later as a standalone treat. This small adjustment can make a world of difference in how you feel afterward. Now let's talk about the final, and perhaps most surprising, culprit: chocolate and processed meats. You might be thinking, who pairs chocolate with bacon or salami? While it's true that these combinations aren't common in everyday meals, they do show up in certain specialty dishes or snacks, like chocolate-covered bacon or charcuterie boards featuring both items. The problem lies in the interaction between the fats and preservatives in processed meats and the compounds in chocolate. Together, they can increase inflammation in the body and potentially raise cholesterol levels, which becomes a bigger concern as we age. Processed meats are already known to be high in sodium and nitrates, which can contribute to hypertension and cardiovascular issues. Pairing them with chocolate, which contains saturated fats, can compound these effects, making it harder for your body to maintain balance. I once met a woman named Carol who loved experimenting with trendy food pairings, including chocolate-dipped cured meats. She noticed she often felt sluggish and bloated after eating these combinations. Once she switched to plain dark chocolate with fresh fruit or nuts instead, she told me she felt lighter and more energized. For seniors, managing inflammation and maintaining heart health is critical. Instead of combining chocolate with processed meats, try pairing it with healthier options like almonds, strawberries, or even avocado. Yes, it works. These alternatives not only taste great, but also provide additional nutrients without overwhelming your system. Now let's address a common objection I hear from viewers. I've been eating chocolate with these foods for years and haven't had any problems. Why should I change now? That's a valid point, and here's my response. Our bodies change as we age. What worked for us in our 40s or 50s might not work as well in our 60s, 70s, or beyond. Hormonal shifts, slower metabolism, and increased sensitivity to certain foods mean we need to adapt our habits to stay comfortable and healthy. Making small adjustments doesn't mean giving up the foods you love. It means finding ways to enjoy them without compromising your well-being. Speaking of adaptation, let's talk about overcoming challenges. Changing long-standing habits can feel daunting, especially if you've grown accustomed to certain pairings or routines. But here's the truth: small, consistent changes add up over time. If avoiding these problematic combinations feels overwhelming, start with just one. For example, swap out caffeinated drinks for herbal tea when enjoying chocolate, or replace processed meats on your snack platter with fresh fruits or nuts. Over time, these choices will become second nature, and you'll notice improvements in how you feel. And remember, staying socially engaged can play a big role in supporting these changes. Research shows that sharing meals or cooking experiences with others can boost motivation and accountability. So whether it's inviting a friend over for a chocolate tasting or joining a community group focused on healthy aging, connecting with others can inspire you to prioritize your health. Here's a powerful fact to leave you with. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that mindful eating practices, like paying attention to food combinations and portion sizes, can significantly improve digestion, energy levels, and overall well-being. It's proof that taking small steps toward better habits isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It's about investing in your long-term health and happiness. Now that you have all these tools and insights, let's wrap things up with some final words of motivation and a simple challenge you can start today. Because at the end of the day, aging doesn't mean losing control of your health. It means taking charge of it in smarter, more intentional ways. Now that we've explored the 5 foods you should never eat with chocolate, dairy, caffeine, high-fiber foods, citrus fruits, processed meats, and alcohol, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. These combinations might seem harmless at first glance, but they can lead to discomfort, digestive issues, or even disrupt your sleep and overall well-being. The good news? With a few simple adjustments, you can continue to enjoy chocolate without the unpleasant side effects. Let's recap why these pairings matter so much. Dairy can interfere with digestion due to oxalates binding with calcium, while caffeine amplifies chocolate's stimulating effects, potentially disrupting your sleep. High-fiber foods may cause bloating when combined with chocolate's fats, and citrus fruits can trigger acid reflux in sensitive individuals. Alcohol adds unnecessary strain on your liver and stomach, while processed meats increase inflammation and cholesterol levels when paired with chocolate. Each of these insights highlights how small changes in what and how you eat can make a big difference in how you feel day to day. But here's the thing, knowledge is only powerful when it's put into action. You don't need to overhaul all your habits overnight. Start small. Maybe it's swapping milk chocolate for dark chocolate with almond milk, or enjoying your coffee and chocolate at different times of the day. Over time, these little shifts add up, creating habits that support your comfort and health in meaningful ways. Experts agree that consistency is key when it comes to mindful eating practices. Even one thoughtful change can improve your quality of life. I want to leave you with a story that illustrates just how transformative small habits can be. A woman named Evelyn once told me she decided to pay closer attention to her food pairings after years of feeling sluggish and uncomfortable. She started by separating her chocolate from dairy and caffeine, then gradually adjusted other combinations like citrus and alcohol. Within weeks, she noticed she had more energy, fewer digestive issues, and an overall sense of lightness she hadn't felt in years. She said to me, "It wasn't about perfection, it was about progress. I realized I could still enjoy my favorite treats, I just needed to do it smarter." Now, some of you might still be thinking, what if I forget or slip up? That's okay. Life happens, and no one expects you to be perfect. The goal isn't perfection, it's improvement. If you accidentally pair chocolate with one of these foods, simply note how your body feels and use that awareness to guide your choices next time. And don't hesitate to enlist the help of loved ones or caregivers if you need support. Remember, you're never alone in this journey. Let's talk about mindset for a moment. As we age, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, "It's too late for me to make a difference." But science shows us that it's never too late to start making healthier choices. A study published in The Lancet found that adopting even one new healthy habit later in life, like being mindful of food combinations, can significantly enhance longevity and quality of life. So whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, every positive step you take matters. Another important aspect of aging well is staying socially engaged. Did you know that loneliness can have a profound impact on both mental and physical health? Studies suggest that maintaining strong social connections reduces the risk of depression, anxiety, and even chronic diseases. While we've been talking about chocolate today, don't forget to nourish your relationships too. Share these tips with a friend or family member, or invite someone over for a mindful chocolate tasting session. These moments of connection are just as vital as the habits themselves. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these food combinations surprised you the most? Are there any pairings you're excited to try adjusting? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and your thoughts might inspire others who are looking for ideas. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips on healthy aging. Sharing this video with a loved one could also be a wonderful way to spread the message of vitality and mindful living. Finally, I want to remind you of something important. Aging doesn't mean losing control of your health. It means taking charge of it in smarter, more intentional ways. Every day is a new opportunity to nourish your body, nurture your mind, and connect with the people and activities that bring you joy. Whether it's through savoring a piece of chocolate mindfully, spending time with loved ones, or simply smiling at someone you care about, you have the power to shape your own journey. So here's to living your best life at any age, and to embracing the small, meaningful steps that lead to big results. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and remember, the choices you make today lay the foundation for tomorrow. Here's to your health.